and then our average client gets a $110 monthly refund. I'm talking today about Medicare Advantage and TRICARE for life. And I'm in Puerto Vallarta right now. My cousin's hosting me at an Airbnb, so I kind of got inspired to make this video. So I haven't even showered yet, but we're going to start talking about Medicare Advantage and TRICARE for life. I'll get out of the way. We're up above here. Got a view of the Puerto Vallarta Bay. But some of the basics of TRICARE for life, when you turn 65, if you have TRICARE, you're going to get transitioned out of TRICARE Prime or TRICARE Select into TRICARE for life, and that's going to be automatic on the first day of the month when you turn 65. So if you turn 65 on July 15th, your TRICARE for life will become effective on July 1st. Now, we get this question a lot. What happens to my family that has it? So if you have TRICARE Prime or TRICARE Select and your family is under the age of 65, then what's going to happen is they are going to stay on TRICARE Prime or TRICARE Select, whichever one that you have there. And then you will be transitioned, and only you, and you'll have to keep paying a premium for them. But the TRICARE for life, that is a $0 premium or premium free, as they like to talk about it. I'm here on TRICARE's website, and we'll just talk a little bit about the basics of Medicare Part A and B. I think this is the page I want to be on. Medicare Part A is called hospital insurance. It's your inpatient services, has a $0 premium. Think about it going into a building, staying overnight. Medicare Part B is called medical insurance. That's your outpatient services. That's the one with a monthly premium, and that's what a lot of the veterans who contact us, they're angry about that Medicare Part B premium because, as you guys know, you were promised free health care your whole life. And now you're being told that you have to pay for this Medicare Part B premium. But that's where Medicare Part C comes in, and it's going to be able to give you some advantages to that. It's called Medicare Advantage. It's not right for every single veteran with TRICARE for life. And let me be very straight about that. It's not right for every single veteran that has TRICARE for life. Sometimes got trolls on the internet who leave these comments on our videos about that. And never have we ever said that it is right for every single one. But it's right for many of you out there. And you're going to see why here as we start moving on. But Medicare Part B has that premium of $185 a month in 2025. Part D, you don't have to worry about Part D too much because your TRICARE for life is going to be your Part D drug coverage. If you're over 65 and you go to a private pharmacy, name brand, CVS, Walmart, what else is out there, Walgreens, etc. When you go get your prescriptions, you want to go with your military ID. This one here, your DOD. This will also be your TRICARE for life card when you go to doctors. But getting back here, so when you turn 65, you're enrolled into you're enrolled into TRICARE for life. TRICARE for life is a $0 premium. Now, if you're drawing Social Security already before the age of 65, you're going to be automatically enrolled into Medicare Part A and B, and you're going to get a letter in the mail, and your Medicare stays in place unless you mail your Medicare card back. And if you have TRICARE for life, you don't want to do that, because if you don't have Medicare Part A and B, your TRICARE for life will not work, and all that service will be, for the medical side, will have been wasted, so to speak. That's not the exact right term, but that's the one I have right now. So the Medicare Part, the TRICARE for life, that has a $0 premium. It's called Wraparound coverage. And what it does is it pays your deductibles and co-pays that Medicare Part A and B don't pay. Or if you have a Medicare Part C plan, there's co-pays that need to be paid. The TRICARE for life pays those co-pays. We'll get more into that as we get a little deeper here. But getting back, if you're on Social Security and they automatically enroll you into Medicare Part A and B and you're on Social Security, they'll start deducting that Medicare premium right out of your Social Security benefit. 2025, that's $185. And that's where a lot of the veterans get upset. I didn't agree to this, etc., but those are the rules. Okay, Uncle Sam isn't going to miss out on his money. So that's Medicare Part A and B and TRICARE for life. And you'll have a lot of people that say you don't need Medicare Part C. That's true. You don't need Medicare Part C. You must have at least Medicare Part A and Medicare Part B, but you'll have the option to get Medicare Part C. And Medicare Part C is not right for every single veteran out here. We talked about your DOD. This is your TRICARE. This will be your TRICARE for life card. And then we get this question a lot. If I enroll into a Medicare Part C plan, also called Medicare Advantage, will I lose my TRICARE for life? No, you don't lose it. Sometimes Medicare Part C or MA plans, they're all-in-one plans, alternatives to original Medicare. Private insurance companies approved by Medicare offer these plans, and they bundle things. They bundle your A benefits. They bundle your B benefits. They are allowed to provide additional benefits like dental, vision, hearing, and prescriptions as well. And then if you enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan, you still have Medicare. Medicare is still your primary coverage. And TRICARE for Life is the secondary payer. That means if you have a Medicare Advantage plan and you go see a doctor, and let's say it has a $40 copay, making something up, all right? You go with 2 cards. You go with this military ID card, okay? And you go with your Medicare Part C card. That's going to be your primary payer. That's going to pay a bulk of the bill. And then you go with this card here, and then that's going to pay the co-payments. Now, here's how it works. All right. These things, they don't automatically get billed. When you have original Medicare A and B only, and you don't have a Part C plan, then it automatically gets billed. But when you have a Part C plan with it, you go with the 2 cards and you say, okay, this Part C plan is going to pay a bulk of the bill. My military ID, that's going to pay the copays. And if the doctor, and most of the doctors now, because they're here in a business, they know how to bill the TRICARE for Life. TRICARE for Life contracts with Wisconsin Physician Services, so they can send that copayment bill directly to them, and then they pay it. They pay the $40, they pay the $10. Maybe you have a copay of a few $100s for some service. They pay that. And now people will yell at us sometimes, and they're not our clients. They're people that are out there that are trying to disprove what we're saying. But here's this form. All right. There are so many doctors billing Wisconsin Physician Services for those co-payments that for over 2 years, we haven't had to provide this form to any of our clients. This is the form that you would do. Let's say the doctor isn't going to pay. They say, I'm not billing it. So you have to pay the $40 or whatever the copay is up front. Then you have to then you have to fill out this form to get reimbursed for your copay. And our clients know this. And in over 2 years, because there's so many people aging into Medicare, no one has called us for this form because the doctors are taking it, okay? Here's the next page I'm going to talk about. We'll try to leave links to the descriptions of all these pages. We're using all official TRICARE websites, and we're also going to look at the Medicare new handbook here in a moment. So 4 reminders about getting care with TRICARE for Life. Know where you can use Medicare. You can read through this on your own. But we're going to go down here. Know how Medicare Advantage plans work. Part C refers to Medicare Advantage plans. Private companies contract with Medicare, offer these plans. They must include at least Medicare Part A and B. And you'll see here when I go to the Medicare new handbook that Medicare Part C is allowed to do extras that Medicare A and B does not do when it stands alone. Medicare A and B came out in 1965. It's virtually unchanged. It's outdated in my opinion. In many areas, that's why Medicare Part C exists. One of the reasons Medicare Part C exists is it's able to do more modern things. People have talked about for years, I wish Medicare would include dental. Well, imagine what the government would have to do to include dental services in Medicare and how much administrative work there would have to be. So now they went to private insurance companies and said, hey, if we send you a monthly premium, that's what happens when you're on a Medicare Advantage plan. The government will send a monthly premium, if you will, to the private insurance company. And they are allowed to do extras that Medicare A and B won't do because it's going to be a huge service for them to take care of it. So now those Medicare Part C plans, they're able to do extras beyond what Medicare A and B does. So they have to do at least A and B, the hospital and the medical services, and they're allowed to do extras like the dental, the vision, the hearing, the gym memberships, etc. But getting back to this, it says you don't need Medicare Part C to have TRICARE for Life coverage. We said that you must have at least Medicare Part A and B. But you'll have an option to get Medicare Part C if it's in your county or zip code, and it's highly, highly likely that it is. But if you choose to sign up for a Medicare Advantage, keep the following in mind. You must get all non-emergency health care from the plan's provider network. Now, this is where people start yelling at us in the comments. Oh, you got to go to a network. Well, Medicare is a network as well. When you have Medicare A and B only, that's a network. No, it's not a Medicare. It's not a network. I can go see any doctor. No, you can't go see any doctor, but you can go see any doctor that accepts original Medicare. Yes, that's true. And that's not every doctor. So there is a network to that. Now, this is where other people panic. Well, I'm going to get one of these HMO plans and I'm going to have to stay in my own backyard, etc. Almost all of the Medicare Part C plans that are designed for veterans are PPO plans. That means there is a network, but that network is throughout the country. And if you get on one of the major providers, that network for PPO is without borders, state borders, and you can go see any doctor that is in the United States that is inside of that PPO network. And that's tens of thousands of doctors. And way over 90% of our clients that choose to elect a Medicare Part C plan to work with their TRICARE for life get a PPO plan. And we let them know, hey, this thing has a PPO network. All right. There is a network of doctors that you should be going to, because that's the way it works the best. However, if you know anything about PPO, it also has out-of-network coverage. So technically, you can go see doctors that are outside of the network. And if they'll bill it outside of the network, everything is A-okay. But if they won't bill it, let's say you want to go see a doctor and they say, no, I'm not going to bill that. Then what you're going to need to do is pay up front and take all those bills and go get reimbursed back from the insurance company. And a lot of people, they will talk to us, and almost everybody's doctors that they see, they are inside of these PPO networks already. And if they're not, we say, hey, you want to go see XYZ doctor. They are not inside of this PPO network. All right. This is how it's going to work. And then they say, well, I don't know if I want to do that. And then our average client gets a $110 monthly refund. So that takes down how much they have to pay for Medicare Part B, down from, in 2025, our average client, some are higher, some are lower. That takes our average client from having to pay $185 a month for Medicare down to $75 a month. And all we say is put this on your scales, okay? If you want to go see this doctor that you have, they are not in the network. Are they worth $110 a month for you to go see? And then some say, yes, they are. Then Medicare Advantage isn't right for you, okay? This is not right for you. Go ahead and stay on original Medicare A and B, and you pay the $185 a month, and you don't get any dental or vision or hearing, but that's the right system for you. And we talk to other people and we say, hey, this Medicare Advantage plan, your doctor doesn't happen to be in it, but you're going to save $110. You're going to get a little dental, a little vision, a little hearing, okay, some other benefits on top of it. TRICARE for Life is going to pay all the co-payments, and tell them it's going to save you $110 a month. And they say, well, my doctor, I only see him 2 or 3 times a year. I'll find another doctor. And it's not very difficult when you have a PPO plan. Now, with an HMO plan, my dad happens to have an HMO plan, and he goes to the VA for almost everything. And a few weeks ago, he had something at the VA that was denied. They weren't going to pay for it, but Dad didn't panic. Dad used his Medicare Part C plan, and he has an HMO, and he went to his primary care, and he said, hey, I have this problem. And then the Part C plan says, yeah, we're gonna cover that. Dad had to make a copayment because he doesn't have TRICARE for Life. But if he did have TRICARE for Life would have paid the copayment for him. So we got here, your plan may require pre-authorization for healthcare services. That's true. And quite frankly, when I have services done, if they're going to be major, I want a pre-authorization for it. Because what can happen is you can go get a service. Like if you have original Medicare, you can go get a service and tell them, oh, I have original Medicare A and B, and I have maybe a Medicare supplement like a plan G or an N. And by the way, I wanted to mention this earlier, but I forgot. If you have TRICARE for Life, you don't need a Medicare supplement plan. Those letters like G and N, and if it really isn't available to you anymore, if you got onto Medicare after January 1st of 2020, and if you happen to have TRICARE for Life and you have a plan G, an N, or an F, that's a total waste. Something happened and you shouldn't have got on it. But getting back to this, you may require pre-authorization for care services. And I have clients that have original Medicare with Medicare supplements, and sometimes they go to a doctor and they get a service and they call me up and they say, hey, Medicare isn't paying, and then the Medicare supplement wouldn't pay. So I always suggest, try to get a pre-authorization to make sure that your insurance company, whether it's original Medicare or Medicare Advantage, is going to pay for it, because you could potentially go get a knee replacement. And then Medicare says, oh, you got a knee replacement, but we didn't find it medically necessary and we're not going to pay. Now you've really got problems. But it says here, we're going to move on. You may pay a monthly premium in addition to your Medicare Part B premium. Medicare Part C plans can have a premium to them. And I'm going to go to the Medicare Handbook next. And Medicare Part C plans are allowed to have a $0 premium. And almost every single one of our clients that has a Medicare Advantage plan that is a veteran, either with or without TRICARE for life, it's over 99%, has a $0 premium plan. They don't have to pay anything extra for it. It's not free. All right. A lot of people you'll see out there on the commercials, they'll say it's free. It's free. Excuse me. It's free. It's free. No, it's not free. You've already paid for these things. You've already earned them. I don't know if you remember that FICA box on your paychecks, but those are deductions, and those deductions were for Social Security and for Medicare. So you've already paid into these programs. And it says right here on page 11 of the Medicare and You Handbook, here's the 2025 Medicare and You Handbook. If we scroll down to page 11, went a little far. There we go. Talking about Medicare Advantage. You pay the monthly Part B premium and may also have to pay the plan's premium. And goes on to say, some plans, and it's actually most plans, it's over 75%, some plans may have a $0 premium, so you don't have to pay anything beyond that Medicare Part B premium. And then it also says here, and this is where these plans really become helpful, my dad has a plan that refunds $175 of his $185 monthly Medicare premium. Some plans may have a $0 premium, and may help pay all or part of your Part B premium. Most plans include Medicare drug coverage. You don't need to worry about the drug coverage. If your plan happens to have extra drug coverage, that's great. If you have TRICARE for life, what ends up happening is if you go to the private pharmacy, the Part D drug plan inside of the Medicare Advantage, that's going to pay first. And if there's a copay that needs to get paid, your TRICARE for life will come in secondary. And now this is where real world experience comes in. We only, my family's making fun of me making the video. God love them. Anyway, so getting back to Part D. So if there is, what can happen is when you go to a pharmacy and you have TRICARE for life and a Medicare Advantage plan, the pharmacy might not be used to billing it. And they might actually say, oh, you don't have any Part D coverage. No, here's the way it works. And you have to tell them. And sometimes we have a pharmacy call us and tell them, hey, Part C, the Part D plan inside of the Part C plan is going to pay first. Your TRICARE for life is going to pay second. But most of these plans that are designed for veterans, they have no drug coverage on purpose because they know you have TRICARE for life or you have VA health benefits and drug coverage there. So they don't even offer the Part D coverage on purpose because you already have that coverage. And if you go to the private pharmacy and you have TRICARE for life, you show up with the military ID and say, hey, this is the one that's going to pay for it. But getting back to this reimbursement or refund. So Medicare Part C may help pay all or part of your Part B premium. This is where our clients love it the most. Average client gets $110 reimbursement from the Medicare Part C plan. So they get Part C for $0 now. Doesn't mean that it's free. It means that, hey, I've already paid into this system. So I've already given tens of thousands of dollars to Medicare throughout your entire working life. Person who made $50,000 a year for 40 years, they had about $50,000 paid into Medicare on their behalf. And that's just making $50,000 a year for 40 years. If you made more, you paid in more. So that's one of the reasons that you're able to get that for $0. And these Medicare Advantage plans are also allowed to include extra benefits like dental. Dental is the most popular. Now, if you get a Medicare Advantage plan and you have the dental coverage, don't expect it to give you a mouthful of implants. That's not what it's designed to do. It's designed to help you with things like cleaning, exams, x-rays, crowns, root canals, and more. They're also able to provide some vision services like an eyeglass allowance. It's usually around $200. Some are higher, some are lower. Okay, and this is how my dad uses it. Dad gets his glasses for free from the VA. Most of you guys do. And then what my dad does is he uses his allowance to get an extra set of glasses. Dad's 81, has tendency to sit on his glasses and lose them. Plans may also offer an over-the-counter pharmacy benefit as well. If we move down a little bit to page 12, just talking about the dental original Medicare. Oops, messed it up. Let's go back. There we go. Regional Medicare covers most medically necessary services, supplies, hospitals, etc., etc. Medicare Advantage plans must cover all medically necessary services that original Medicare covers. Okay. For some services, plans may use their own coverage criteria to determine medically necessary. Plans may also offer some extra benefits that original Medicare doesn't cover. That's the dental, the vision, the hearing, over-the-counter pharmacy benefits. Sometimes they'll give you a ride to the doctor. We have some plans that'll actually take care of your pet if you're in the hospital as well. Getting back to this page over here about the reminders. Now, Medicare Advantage, like I said, is not right for every single veteran. And we tell our clients, you're in this Medicare Advantage plan, all right? It may or may not be right for you, but you want to try it. That's fine. People that have TRICARE for life have an extra provision that nobody else really knows about because all we do is work with veterans. That's our only client. We don't work with the general public, so to speak. We don't work with civilians, all right? We only work with veterans. And I'm going to get to that in a second. I wanted to finish this part here. You may have co-payments at the time of service. You may need to file paper claims with TRICARE for Life contractor, which is Wisconsin Physician Services, and being reimbursed for these co-payments. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. So it can happen, but it is unlikely because the doctors that you see through TRICARE Prime or TRICARE Select, they already know how to bill these things because you're a veteran. So I'm not going to say every single one, but like I said, we haven't had to use this form in over 2 years. No one has contacted us. This is the form that you would have to fill out if you had to make a co-payment at the doctor, if the doctor wasn't going to bill TRICARE for Life / Wisconsin Physician Services. Like I said, haven't had to use it in over 2 years because the doctors, they want to get their co-payments. They want to make it easy so they know how to bill the Part C plan for the bulk of the bill. And then the deductible or copay that is owed, they know how to bill Wisconsin Physician Services to get paid for it. Now, this is very important. Like I said, TRICARE or Medicare Part C is not for every single veteran, but maybe you want to try it and see if it is right for you. What if I sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan and later decide that you'd rather use original Medicare because you have TRICARE for Life? This is where it is unusual for everybody else. If you don't have TRICARE for Life, you have to wait for these enrollment periods. But notice where it says right here, you may disenroll from a Medicare Advantage plan at any time because you have TRICARE for Life. You're special. You can call Medicare or your Medicare Advantage plan or to request disenrollment. You'll automatically be back in original Medicare. Now, that part right there, that sentence, you'll automatically be back in original Medicare, is a little hair misleading. What will happen is on the 1st of the next month, it will be back. And some of the internet trolls out there, they'll say, oh, you only get paid unless you sign us up in a plan. Yes, that's correct. We only get paid if we sign you up in a plan. But I got this stupid saying, none of us that work here are Bill Gates or Elon Musk with the money, but none of us are starving over here either. So we don't need clients that don't need this. We only want the clients that want to have this. And then it's a regular basis. People call us up and we're giving them information about Medicare that are veterans. And they say, well, I really don't want to sign up for a plan. No problem. We'll give you all the information. They say, you're not going to get paid. We're going to be all right. We're going to survive. We're going to be able to take our little vacations like everybody else does. Okay, nobody is going broke. Do you still have questions about your TRICARE for Life coverage? You can call TRICARE for Life, but they will not give you the complete information. When you talk to TRICARE for Life, all they say is, we don't need Medicare Advantage. And they're right, technically. You don't have to have it, okay? But because you have Medicare A and B, that gives you the option to get into Medicare Part C and get these additional benefits. Highly likely to be $0 premium. You don't have to pay anything extra for it. You're going to get a reduction in how much that you have to pay for your Medicare Part B. Here's how it works. If you have Social Security, instead of, let's say, at $110 refund or reimbursement, instead of having $185 taken out of your Social Security benefit for Medicare, only $75 is taken out of your Social Security benefit for Medicare. If you're not on Social Security and you're paying your Medicare premium on your own, so you get a monthly bill, all right, instead of that monthly bill being it's actually a quarterly bill. So instead of the quarterly bill being for $555, I don't have the math in front of me with this. So if you get 185 times 3, that's $555. So we said it's going to be 75 times 3. Okay, so your bill every quarter, instead of $555, will be $225. That's if you're not on Social Security and you're getting billed every quarter from Medicare for your Medicare premium. And if you're on an automatic bank draft, taking the money out of a bank account, instead of $185 being deducted from the bank account, only $75. And that's, like I said, $110 is our average premium. My dad happens to have one in his area. That's $175. So he has $10 taken out of his Social Security benefit for Medicare. If you go to a doctor, all right, and you go with the 2 cards, again, you go with your Part C card, that's going to pay a bulk of the bill, as we like to say. And if there's a copay that needs to be paid, then that doctor, highly likely, if you're on TRICARE for life and you had them while you were on TRICARE Prime or Select, they already know how to bill TRICARE and Wisconsin Physician Services. So they can send that to Wisconsin Physician Services and get their 40, 100, whatever the copay happens to be. And then if they are not going to bill it, then you have this form to fill out, and then you can get reimbursed that way as well. If you have any questions about this, you can go ahead and contact us. And then Medicare makes it so we're able to provide all of our services for free to veterans. We never have charged anybody a dime for our services. We don't need to. Medicare rules allow us to do it that way. And always remember, I trademarked this phrase because this is how we work with everybody. We speak veteran. We understand veteran benefits. We understand what Medicare is, obviously, A, B, C, and D. We also understand veteran benefits, whether you just have VA benefits, maybe you have disability, maybe you're using community care. Okay, a lot of our clients have TRICARE for life as well, and they don't want to have to pay the $185 premium, and they want to get the extra benefits as well. And a lot of our TRICARE for life clients actually, they don't want to lose TRICARE for life because they want to have it, and they go to the VA for almost everything because they have both services. So this is another option. We get a lot of the trolls out there who will say things like I've said, you don't need Medicare Part C. You don't have to do A and B. Yeah, that's correct. But Medicare gives you an option. That's one of the reasons why Medicare is so complicated, because it's not one size fits all. Routinely, we have husbands and wives on different plans because the needs are different. But again, if you have any questions, you guys can go ahead and contact us. Thanks so much for watching.